Hi guys, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, I thought I would lump together three kind of similar products that you might be running across. They are all fairly recent releases and they all pertain to the skin, containing different highlight and blush type shades. From TheBalm, we're going to be talking about the Manizer sisters. You got Mary Luminizer, Cindy Luminizer, and Betty Luminizer in this one. Becca has the Afterglow palette out, which contains 3 of their shimmering skin perfectors and also a couple of blushes. From Bare Minerals, there's the Royal Court palette, and this has kind of your standard bronzer, blush, highlight type trio. The least expensive would be this one from TheBalm, that's $28. Bare Minerals one is $29, and this Becca one is like $39. $39.50 to be exact on Ulta's website. And I'm going to start here. This is the one that I was really most intrigued by. I had the most experience with the shades in the one from TheBalm. I already had all 3 of those. The one from Bare Minerals, I thought, you know, it looks nice. I'm not sure if it's going to wow me. But this one from Becca, I was very excited about because I only had experience with one element of this palette, and that is the Shimmering Skin Perfector in Rose Gold. So you've got the Shimmering Skin Perfector in Moonstone, Rose Gold, and Topaz, and then these 2 are the mineral blushes in Wild Honey and Flowerchild. Over here is the pink one. Size-wise, this is set up just the same size as like their Ombre Rouge palette, let's say, for eyeshadow. So these shades are fairly small. However, I don't seem to have a problem getting into it with my brushes. Usually it's going to be a blush brush or smaller that I'm going to be dipping into these with, and it seems to work out just fine for me. The claim to fame of Becca's whole line seems to be glowing skin, and I personally still say that the Shimmering Skin Perfector liquid, I think, looks even more natural on the skin. It gives your skin this kind of like, I don't know, X Factor type look where you've got the glow, it doesn't look like makeup, and I have always thought that the powdery ones look a little more like product on the skin. When I missed my finished look with some setting spray, that's one method that I think helps sort of correct that look, but that's just, I don't know, my 2 cents on that. But one thing that across the board I've noticed with this palette, everything in here is soft, pigmented. I like that the blushes aren't nearly as shimmery as the skin perfectors over here. The blushes seem to have like a satin finish, and I adore Wild Honey. That's one of those like subtle blushes that you can't really predict how that's going to come off on the skin, but like I'm wearing it today and I think it's a perfect like neutral blush. Blush without looking too blushy, if you know what I mean. And if I'm really feeling like using this palette and just going to town with it, using it to its fullest extent, I find that I will use the Shimmering Skin Perfectors that have a little more color to them, so the Rose Gold and the Topaz. I will kind of pair those with these blushes. In other words, I'll apply one, you know, maybe underneath and then put a blush on top, and I find any pairing looks good and gives a little different twist to it. And then I kind of reserve Moonstone, which is so bright. I love that so much. I couldn't believe I hadn't tried Moonstone until now, but that gives just a nice little pop of radiance to key areas on top. And another way you can use this, which I think is gorgeous as well, apply a little wash of Moonstone first, like under where you would use your blush, and then put one of these blushes on top. It kind of disguises the level of sheen that Moonstone has. It's just a beautiful effect, and I think as you play with this, you'll realize like different combos you like. Maybe you just like to take one of these Shimmering Skin Perfectors like Rose Gold and just use it alone. I just really like it, and I will show you the way I used it today. I actually used a little Rose Gold on the cheeks first, just lightly with my blush brush, and then I put Wild Honey over top, and I used it like a little bit lower, and it's just such a gorgeous, like not too obvious but still really radiant looking blush. I love that. And then just targeted Moonstone right on the tops of the cheekbones, down the nose, Cupid's bow area. So my curiosity for this palette was highest, I think, and I was really excited to get this and just try the different shades, and I'm very happy with it. If you're not someone who's into shimmery highlights, this may not be worthwhile for you, but if you're like me and you've only tried like one, or maybe you haven't tried any of the shades that are in here, it's really a nice sampling. Now let's talk about TheBalm's the Luminizer, or the Manizer, I think is what it's actually called. The Manizer sisters. Mary Luminizer, Cindy Luminizer, and Betty Luminizer. So this is going to be your classic kind of champagne type, super glowy glowy, really catches the light kind of highlight. Very, very popular highlight there. Cindy Luminizer is a little more peachy. It is the kind of thing that light to medium, light, fair skin tones could maybe even wear as a blush. And then Betty Luminizer, I won't call it a straight up bronzer, but it's kind of like just a bronzy glow that you could apply just all over the skin. Now the Balm markets all of these not only as highlights, but also eyeshadows. And I've done quick, you know, shadow looks with this, and it works really nicely that way too. These are all very soft, and the textures of these powders, it's like you only need a little bit when you tap into it. A similar texture to the Shimmering Skin Perfectors from Becca, but I don't know about you guys, but I find these to be just a bit softer. What is so interesting though is the similarity between the 3 Shimmering Skin Perfectors that are in here and the 3 shades that are in the palette from the Balm. I mean, could they look any closer? And they really look quite similar in the swatches as well. So it's kind of crazy what's going on here, and it's the kind of thing where you got to look at it and say, you know, am I just an avid collector of products from the Balm like I kind of am? Because I already have these, you know, individually. But I was excited enough about this, and I wanted to tell you guys about it too, so I went ahead and got the trio. But here you're getting those very same kinds of shades plus a couple of blushes, albeit everything in here is a little smaller size. And one note about this palette from the Balm, while I think it's great quality and these are really fun shades to play with, I have already reviewed the In the Balm of Your Hand palette, and this I would say is even more the must-have compared to this one. I mean, they're both great, but you do get a mini Mary Luminizer in this palette, plus how many other blush products? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other cheek type things, plus the eyeshadows, plus a lipstick. There's the Mary Luminizer right down here. So if I was going to put my money into one or the other, I would go with the In the Balm of Your Hand Greatest Hits palette, but just wanted to mention that. Now this one from Bare Minerals, this is the Royal Court, and you're getting Clear Radiance, Golden Gate, that's your blush, and then Warmth, so the pressed version of Warmth. I always remember Warmth as being like one of those products you would get if you ordered the whole Bare Minerals kit, and you get that loose Warmth powder. But it says, introducing our best-selling face colors in Bare Minerals Ready format. And it is a nice little palette. As far as the glow factor, you know, the thing from the Balm and the one from Becca, those are highly, highly glowy. This one is definitely stepped back a notch. So if you are looking for a little, you know, trio of products that's not going to be too shiny on the cheeks, you might consider this, because like Golden Gate, the blush, I'd call that like a satin finish. Just got the slightest bit of a rosy, almost a bit of like a berry glow to it. I think it's very pretty. And Clear Radiance is an interesting product as well, because it's got some brightness to it. I sense a little bit of like a pinky tone in this product, but it's very muted. It's not going to be one of those hardcore like strobed highlighted looks. And then Warmth, I think one of the criticisms of this product, you know, at least in the loose format, is that maybe it's a little too warm. On some people, they feel like it looks a little too muddy. You know, Warmth is in the name, so I guess you've kind of been warned, but just think of it more as something that really is going to kind of amp up the skin tone, not necessarily be something everybody enjoys contouring with. But after using this, you know, I like it. It gives me a pretty look on my skin, but I'm just kind of okay with it. It didn't wow me. It's not like it gave me the kind of look that I couldn't get anywhere else with any other blushes or bronzers or highlights in my collection. The highlights from Becca and the Balm, I really think are some of the top highlights on the market, and I really enjoy the fact that they took things that are part of their regular line, you know, not just a bunch of random kind of anonymous limited edition things, but they took products that are really popular and really have a following and stuck them into, you know, a palette that lets you sample and kind of get a better value out of it. To me personally, if we're just talking face products, I think this one from Becca really gives you like the widest range, because you get the couple blushes, you get these really fun glowy highlights. Each one looks totally different from the next. You know, you're not even getting a close effect from one to the next. Paired with the blushes or used alone, they each have, I think, their own distinct effect. So just wanted to get some info out there on a few little palettes. You know, they're not your standard like gigantic holiday eyeshadow palettes that, you know, I'll be talking about as well, but something you might be curious about nonetheless. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.